Hello, my name is Vova, and welcome back to a series of lectures how to make amazing pictures with your phone. This is lecture number 5, and before we dive into the main subject that I wanted to talk about, I would like to say a couple of words about a golden ratio that we talked about in the previous lecture. So first of all, it's very nice a tool to have the golden ratio constantly on your camera. Just helps. I think in almost on every phone it's possible to add those grid lines, and you should look in the menu in the settings of the camera for grid lines and put them on, and then you will see something like that on your screen. And of course it doesn't show on a picture, on the final picture, and it helps with alignment. You can see that this line, you can align the horizon, the lines in the picture, and of course it can help you with the placing the composition as you like. Okay, what I wanted to talk is that in classical golden ratio, if you go to Wikipedia and you read about it, the ancient Greeks, Pythagoras was talking about it. They were not talking about the thirds. Okay, it is something close to third, but the real number is 1.6 something, and it has some mystical explanation, mathematical explanation of Fibonacci, and you can dive into it. But for the sake of our subject, when you look on the pictures, the lines, the golden ratio lines, will be not on the third, but a bit more. Okay, you can see this line is a bit deeper to the picture than to the center, sorry, than the third, and also this line as well. So let's look on several pictures. A famous picture of Leonardo. Again, you can see that the lines, the real like the mathematical ratio, can be clearly seen. The line here relative to the line here, the line here as well. In this picture, for example, you can see that this line is not on the third. The third will be somewhere here, I think. Okay, here on the wave can be clearly seen. And by the way, this structure, okay, this spiral, is very you are probably very familiar with it. For example, snails have it. Our ear resembles this form. So there are several explanations why we perceive this spiral as very balanced and comfortable to look at, and also the wave, of course. But in general, in art, it is very widely used. So if we put the lines according to the classical golden ratio, it will look like this. And just as a comparison, we'll go back to the phone. You can see it's evenly divided, like third, and here the parts are not even. Okay, and you can see on the pictures, if you put the like real classical golden ratio, you will see that this is the one that painters always used. Okay, now to the main subject I wanted to talk about is lines. Lines are very important composition, and we will see how they play. Let's take a look at this painting. If you remember on previous lecture, I talked about the eyes movement, how our eyes are moving when we are scanning the picture. We don't see the picture straight away. We start to jump from different parts to other parts, and little by little we see the picture. Okay, so most probably you saw the people here, and then maybe you went there, and then probably looked here, and then looked at the tree. Okay, so little by little you build the picture in your head. Okay, and if you pay attention, there are many lines in this picture, and I pointing them out. Okay, first of all, golden ratio. Okay, if we put the classical golden ratio, it will be somewhere here. It's clearly used. Okay, and now back to the lines. I pointed out some of the major lines in the picture. Okay, so this tree has lines, the horizon, this dawn has lines, the lake here, another tree, right? So the purpose of lines in a composition, whether you intend it or not, they direct our eyes. If we go back to the picture, okay, now if you scan the picture, pay attention what happens when you go to the tree, for example. The lines are like sliders. Okay, the eyes slide on the lines and continue scanning. Okay, also here, if you look at the on people here, I'm betting that somewhere this line helps you get to the people. So imagine there were no lines here. You will see the people, of course, but those lines really help us scan the picture in a different way. Okay, so let's take a look on the photographs. Let's look here. Clearly there are lines here, and they're very easy to see. So I pointed them out. Those lines are directing our eye here to this part. Okay, we scan the picture, we see all the parts, but the lines really help us slide to the center, which is not real center, but here to this part of the picture. Also here we see and this way or this way the eye will follow the line. Okay, so pay attention to the movements of your eye, whether they follow this line to this direction or this line. Okay, I pointed to this direction, but the eyes can move to the opposite direction. Now, what I'm sure that at some point you will see the eyes slide on the river here. Okay, several pictures that I took. This path clearly help us flow to this part of the picture. Here, for example, the line is just part of the idea of the picture. It's not just an aid tool, but it's part of the general idea. Here it's both. Okay, it's geometrical, and also you will see that most probably the eye will follow here and will turn together with the road. Here is just a part of the composition. Here the lines have a bit different place, because they don't really help us slide when we scan, but rather the pattern of the lines is repeating itself, right? And in one of the further lectures I will talk about rhythm, and so lines play a very important role in rhythm. Okay, I will stop a bit here. So lines, as I mentioned, help us to direct the eyes. Okay, and as with other different tools of composition, the composition is not the purpose of the picture. It's a tool. Okay, the purpose is probably different. If the purpose of the picture is just the composition, it will be nice, but I don't think it will be a wow picture that will really move you. Okay, so in this picture it's a good example when the subject of the picture, the two kids running, together with the composition, play really well. Okay, the lines direct us to the same place where the kids are running. So overall there's no contradiction between the lines and the subject. Okay, here as well. One of my students took a picture of his mom. The lines are directed to the model. Here, for example, the lines are part of the idea of the subject. They're also a compositional tool, but the picture is cool, you know. In this picture, it's different. The lines are interesting, they are colorful, they are part of the subject, and they are really create the overall effect. Just imagine how the picture would look like if there were no lines, just the shadow and the man. Of course, the picture was taken on rotated camera intentionally. One of the famous works of Ansel Adams. The lines of the nature play really well here. Okay, I will stop a little here as well. So, of course, we can identify the lines now, right? You can see the lines of the tree, of the alley leading directly to the head. And if you remember, when we see a portrait, usually we go to the head and look for the eyes. And Cartier-Bresson here took this amazing, very, very well composed picture, and he helps us with the lines, with the composition to see them, and also the lines of the coat, right? They remind us a little bit of the lines here. So everything is very, very well balanced and thought of. And also, what I would like to show here, that the golden ratio is not really present, right? It's in the middle somehow, and still the picture is really well balanced. Here the lines are very well working very well with the subject, with the movement. The photographer wanted to show us the movement, the dynamics, and the line of the horizon passes here like an arrow to the direction of the horse. Here, this is another example of beautiful composition that create a rhythm, and also they lead the eyes. On this fashion photo, the lines are used to create the overall impression, to emphasize the lines of the cloth. So very well composed picture. Famous work of Cartier-Bresson. The lines lead the eye, and then we continue in imaginary direction of this bicycle rider. Okay, let's take a look on pictures of National Geographic of nature. There are a lot of lines in nature. Okay, this is human-made, of course, but it plays really well. The placement of this tower in the upper third of the picture balances very well together with this rock, and the line leads us. It catches the eye. Also, the bright part of the passage to the tower. Of course, here the lines are a very important part of the general idea of this picture. Here it's interesting because we have like main lines and secondary lines. Okay, the main line is here. It plays together with the overall lines of the bird, and the small lines here on the cable, they resemble those small lines, right? So, very beautiful picture. Here we see a very delicate line going through the flower to the bird, and like I will move my mouth, and pay attention how the eyes scan the picture. What lines do you follow? And here another beautiful example of how lines work together with overall picture. So we see this really amazing picture of a diver taking a close-up of this huge mammal, and the line here and the line here of the water touching each other create very special effect. What is the emotion? How does it move you? So pay attention here to the lines, what effect they create. Okay, so to sum up, lines are very important part of composition, and it's good to control them in the picture, to pay attention and to play with them. And in general, they direct the eyes, they create some emotional effect on the viewer. That's it for today. So see you next one.